Hi everybody, Ninja Boy here, and finally, I can finally cover this album. Oh boy, I've been dying to cover this album for a while now because obviously I'm a big fan of old school thrash or thrash metal in general. I've got my Rust in Peace shirt on for this because we're going to be taking a look at this new Exodus album, Goliath. Here it is, part of the big five thrash metal bands, Exodus. Now, this is my first experience with this band because the only thing I knew about this band going into this album was that Kurt Hammett, the current guitarist for Metallica, was in this band before he transfers over to Metallica. So, oh boy, let's take a look at the track listing and the tracks as well. As you can see, I'd say my favorite from this album was The Dirtiest of the Dozen. And my least favorite would probably be 2 Minutes of Hate. This was a pretty fun album, I'd say. Even though that it progressively got a little bit worse on the second half. I mean, there was some skips on the second half until we got to The Dirtiest of the Dozen, which was an absolutely fantastic song. The Dirtiest of the Dozen was an absolutely fantastic song, as it was a very explosive finale, as you should have in every single thrash metal you make. Every single thrash record you make. Kind of reminded me of Metallica songs like Dyer's Eve, Damage Incorporated, and also some Megadeth songs like Hook and Mouth and Rust in Peace and Polaris. Speaking of old school thrash, this album really does a very fantastic job with keeping elements of old school thrash metal while also keeping some modern day elements in. This album is definitely not afraid to take risks, as we've seen in songs like The Changing Me, which kind of felt like a metalcore song at times, which I do like metalcore. Especially when we talk about like I Promise the World EP, which is still what I consider the best release as of right now from this year. The features didn't really affect the album that much, even though I'm not a huge fan of features in metal albums or metal music, with a few exceptions. But if I have to pick the star of the show from this album, it's the bass player Jack Gibson. That's his name, correct? Yeah, it is Jack Gibson. Yeah, the star of the show had to be Jack Gibson, or the bass playing in general, even though that it felt very simple. No matter the pacing, no matter how fast this album was going, no matter the state of this album, the bass playing fit really well in this album. No matter what, the bass playing, you can also hear the bass playing really well too. You can hear it pretty well, no matter what volume you have this album in, whether it's low volume or high volume. The bass playing has to be the star of the show of this album. Probably some of the best bass playing I have heard in a while. But this album has some problems. Obviously, what I said is that there are a few skip tracks like 2 Minute Wait or 2 Minutes of Hate. And I'd say that the pacing of this album can go a little haywire at times. We'll get to that later. The production is a little flawed, but it's not terrible. Sometimes the vocals don't really fit well or mix well with the song at times. The vocals are pretty decent, but it doesn't mix well with the songs at times. Sometimes... Okay, now let's get to the pacing. The pacing of this album can get a little haywire, considering the fact that sometimes when a fast-paced guitar part starts to take action, sometimes in songs like Hot Mess, Human Eye, Gerontis. I'm sorry if I butchered. Hot Mess, Human Eye, generis. I'm sorry if I pronounced it. I'm sorry if I pronounced that name incorrectly. Sometimes when it's about to get like to like a fast-paced guitar part, or when a guitar part starts to get really fast-paced, sometimes the rest of the song starts to slow down a bit. Instead of just having the guitar part like keep pace, or having everything keep up with the pace of the guitar work. Yeah, I guess that's all I have to say. My problems are just that there are a few skips here and there. Production can get a little flawed at times, and the pacing is probably the biggest problem with this album, I'd say. Like, how fast the songs go. Sometimes it can go a little too fast, and sometimes it can go a little too slow. And sometimes it switches up on you way too quickly. So, with that said, I'm gonna give this a decent 7. Very solid for a band that has been at the game for so long now. And they have not aged one bit. I will say that. So anyways, if you enjoyed this video, if you want me to take a look at any albums, make sure you comment down what album you want me to take a look at. Maybe I might take a look at. Maybe I might do a video on it. Make sure you like, subscribe, send this video to a friend, and I'll see you guys later. Goodbye.